What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Bat Flip, episode 9, talking about Tennessee baseball in the little sweep over Missouri. Also, full capacity this weekend against Arkansas. That's going to be really fun to talk about. Go check out our sponsors, Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climate Control. I'm Landon Raby, with me, Dylan Taylor. And here's a quick word from our good friends at Blue Water Climate Control.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something. And it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
All right, so let's get it right into it. Tennessee coming off a sweep over a not so great Missouri team, but anytime you're able to get a sweep on the road, it's something to talk about. And Tennessee just took care of business this weekend, really flexed the muscles, scoring a ton of runs, hitting a lot of baseballs, hitting some baseballs a long ways, especially that one that Max Ferguson hit on Friday night. And then he did a little bat flip. So this is where this show, the name of the show comes from. It's Drew Gilbert, Jordan Beck, Evan Russell, and now Max Ferguson does his own little bat flip. So, yeah, I thought that was really cool to see. And Tennessee gets that win on Friday, 5-4, a little close one. And then Saturday just kind of ran away with it, 11-4. And then finished off the sweep on Sunday with a 10-2 victory. Now they're sitting first place in the East because Vanderbilt got a little scared and canceled their game, and now Tennessee is a half a game in front of the Commodores, and then now you're tied with Arkansas, number 1 Arkansas, for first place in the SEC, and now you welcome them this weekend. So definitely a lot riding on this weekend, a lot of national implications, seeding, things like that. That's going to really come to play this weekend. So it's going to be a lot of fun to check out. But let's talk about this series win over Missouri. What were your overall thoughts on that sweep?
Yeah, all the runs we've been seeing here lately, all the bat flips. I think they watch us before they take the field. That's the only thing I can gather from it. I'm pretty sure they're watching our episodes before they go out there. But
Hey,
yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, whatever work. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, Ferguson
Exactly.
hit that one to the top of their hitting facility, nearly knocked down Max Scherzer's jersey, which Scherzer's excellent pitcher. No ill will towards him, but as a Braves fan, I wish every ball we hit off him would do that right there. But yeah, I mean, you said it best. I mean, offense was alive for most of the series. I mean, the first game, close game. Don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing though, that you had to battle back there at the end a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you had Blade Tidwell, another solid start from him, 2 in a row now, where he's really, I think he gave up 2 hits this weekend, had 5 Ks again. So good to see him get back on track, because you're going to need him this weekend for sure. Already had the series wrapped up by Sunday, but still, it's good to see him go out there and really dominate like he did.
Yeah, I mean, it was Tennessee just kind of flexed their muscles in the batter's box this weekend, especially on Saturday and Sunday. And I guess you can count that 8th inning on Friday when Max Ferguson hit that one to the moon. But, I mean, they had 16 extra base hits. Missouri only had 4. Missouri didn't have a single one on Sunday. So, those 4 came in those first 2 games. And 40 hits on the weekend and 26 runs. So, I mean, they just, took care of business, I guess, is kind of putting it lightly. I mean, they just destroyed Missouri. I mean,
we hope they would.
You're right. Yeah, that's definitely what you went in there to do. That was your goal. Anytime you're able to get a sweep, like it's a little icing on the cake. But it just felt good. It seems like Tennessee's got some guys that are really coming into their own at the right time. Just before postseason play gets here, Max Ferguson was phenomenal on the weekend. 2 home runs, a ton of hits. I think he had 7 hits, 6 RBIs on the weekend. And then Drew Gilbert, back-to-back good series. I had a good series against Kentucky, and then followed it up with another good series. He's a guy that they would love to get going here late in the season. He was 9 for 15 with 6 RBIs himself. 4 of those came on Saturday, so he had a 4 RBI game, and I think he had 2 yesterday. And I think he reached base all 5 times on yesterday. One was due to an error, but still, you're getting on base. And Tennessee just seems to have a lot of consistency 1 through 9 in the lineup. You got Liam Spence, who's one of the best leadoff hitters in the country, and you have guys behind him that every single one of them can hit it out with one swing of the bat. So. There's not a lot of teams that have that, but Tennessee's sitting well right now. There's being an opposing pitcher, opposing coach. I don't really know how you game plan for a lineup like this. You can't intentionally walk anybody because the next guy can do just as much damage as the guy before him. So I mean that's a good thing. I think pitching wise, Blade Tidwell really showed his stuff back to back. Really good outings from him. It seems like he's becoming more and more comfortable. The more he pitches, the more he's out there against SEC play. Chad Dallas doing what Chad Dallas does, just winning baseball games. He's 8-1 on the season. I think he's second in total wins behind Kamar Rocker. So pretty good company up there with Chad Dallas. The kid's just having a phenomenal year. Just shoved it all year long, and it's really good to see a guy like that have that kind of success. And then I mentioned Liam Spence. That man, he just gets on base. That's all he does.
Yeah, I mean, and you mentioned it. You don't really want to intentionally walk anybody because you got the fear of the next guy coming up. I think just as much. I don't think you've seen it as much this year as we thought we would, but the speed on the lineup too. I mean, you've got speed from legit speed. I'm thinking from 7 of your 9 guys. I mean, I don't think Luke's really the quickest guy out there, and Jackson Greer, Pav, either one of them. I don't think they're just burners, but everybody else is capable of going out there and stealing a bag too. I mean, you've got Max right up there at the top. We haven't seen it as much from Spence just because he's had the hamstring. I think he's back healthy now, but he missed a couple weeks full go with that. But yeah, I mean, the speed's just as much of a weapon. We haven't seen it as much this year just because the way the last couple series have gone, they don't have time to steal because there's a bomb right after that. So why take the risk stealing if the next guy's going to hit it over the fence? So it's a good problem to have in my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. They got some versatility to them. They can hit for power. Like we mentioned, everybody in the lineup has showed off their muscles, but they can also play small ball, sack bunts, bunt for hits, stolen bases. Tennessee can do it all, and I think that's what makes this coaching staff so great is they look for baseball players, not just like a Wes Clark at South Carolina. He's not going to get up there and lay down a bunt. But a lot of Tennessee players are. Luke Lipsius was squaring up for a bunt. They have a lot of guys in the lineup that can do that, and I think that's what makes this team so special. And we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to Arkansas. But Arkansas is a power hitting team. So, how does Tennessee play them? Do they go power for power? Do they go a little bit of small ball, a little bit of both? That's probably where I see them leaning because that's just Tennessee baseball, gritty. They're going to hit some bombs, but they're also going to take some bags, some easy bases when they can. So who's maybe some more guys that really impressed you this weekend?
Yeah, before I say that, I did just notice we've been live for about 15 minutes, and I just now noticed the appearance of the broom in the background. So that's a nice touch there. It's good to actually break it out.
Absolutely,
a win instead or a series win that's not a 2-1 win. You actually get all of them. But I mean, yeah,
I did knock some dust. It's been a while. It's been since LSU, so I wanted to get it out when I could.
Yeah. It's this time of year. It would be a permanent fixture. I'd have a nice hanger there in the back where it can just stay. I mean, it's a nice touch.
Yeah, I think the wife would come looking for it eventually, but
so. Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe I'll just keep it from her until she comes and gets it.
If we keep winning series, I think that's technically your broom, Landon.
I'm gonna have to buy another one.
Yeah,
for actual use.
Yeah, I think it's yours. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned him earlier. I mean, more in MVP stuff like that later. I mean, Blade obviously stood out, but yeah, to me, Drew Gilbert was one, but it's top of my mind was Max Ferguson, just because you don't think of, obviously he can hit for power, but in my mind he's not really the, when you ask me power guys in our lineup, Max doesn't really jump out in my mind. But I mean, that you hit a ball like that off the top of the hitting facility that he did, that's just a moonshot. And I mean, you said he's 7 for 11 on the weekend, 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, scored 5 times. I think he had a walk. I mean, out of those 4 times he get on base, I don't even know if he struck out or not either. Kind of like Jackson Greer last week was the standout for me. But yeah, I mean, preseason All-American, it's kind of what you expected him to do all year. We've seen it now from him the last couple of weeks. Maybe it just took him a little bit longer to get into it, but I don't think anybody's going to complain that he's rolling and the time that he's rolling now, because there's not a better time of the year to be doing what he's doing right now.
Yeah, and poor Missouri. You talked about Blade Tidwell a little bit. I mean, they get to face him for 2 more years. So good luck with that. He really stood out to me this weekend. He just looked in control. He didn't look flustered. He gave up the first run in the first inning, and then it was smooth sailing for him after that. Didn't give up an extra base hit. So just kind of kept it in the ballpark and let his defense play behind him, and it worked for him. I think he retired the last 9 batters he faced. So he just looked in control. The conditions weren't great, so you weren't able to see that, velocity from that fastball that he can throw, but he was pretty consistent throwing 92, 91 throughout the entire 7 innings. So great outing for him. Let's get into MVP real quick, or Daddy Cap, whatever you want to call it. It's I love the Daddy Cap, but it's used for home runs and bat flips. So I think it goes well with the show. So we'll call it Daddy Cap.
Yeah, I like it. I ain't gonna complain about that. But
So
yeah,
who you got?
I same thing just mentioned. I got to go Max. Drew made a case for it. I could say Blade kind of made a case for it. I mean, you already had the series wrapped up then, so you already knew you had it won. But I mean, he definitely makes a case for it. Another note on him, I'll go Max my MVP just officially. But on Tidwell, it looked like he attacked more. You mentioned he looked more comfortable. I thought he just really he we've seen earlier in the year he would kind of have struggles when he gets to 2 strikes. He'd get 0-2, 1-2 very quickly, but then it's like when he gets to 2 strikes, he'd kind of mess around a little bit, kind of leave something hanging. On Sunday though, with 2 strikes, it was like he had a little bit different mentality once he had them down in the count. He just kept attacking like he did earlier in that bat, and I think that's what he's got to keep doing more. But yeah, I'll go Max Ferguson, just crushing baseballs, swapping bags, getting hits, getting walks, everything. I mean, he did it all this weekend.
Yeah, when you get to 0-2 like that, when you're up, by 6 or 7 runs, it's a lot easier to throw that third strike with an 0-2
Right.
pitch. So yeah, that was probably part of it. But yeah, I agree. He was totally in control in that game. He looked comfortable. He looked like a seasoned veteran in the SEC. And Missouri, 2 more years. Have fun. Yeah, my MVP has got to be Max Ferguson. I mean, you don't win that game on Friday night probably without him. He doubled to tie the game at 3 in the 6th, and then they took a 4-3 lead, and then in the 8th, we talked about that bomb, and it was a bomb, but it was in a clutch moment too, where Tennessee desperately needed to get something going, and he just put everything he had into it, and just freaking crushed it. And so, yeah, 7-11, 6 RBIs, 2 home runs, 3 walks, 6 runs, a couple stolen bases. I mean, Max Ferguson, that's why he's on so many major league radars, is because, his versatility to hit it out like he did, and then to play that small ball where he can bunt for a hit. He's super athletic, super fast, great infielder. That's what separates him from, just average college baseball players.
Yeah, that's that between him and average players, and that's the difference between him and just the SEC difference. I think. I mean, we talked about before how small the margin of error is in college baseball, yeah, but in the SEC, we saw in the Vanderbilt series, you need guys like him playing like that, especially in those Vanderbilt series, and especially with what you got coming up this weekend, because you're going to have to be on point.
Yeah, somebody else I forgot to mention while we were talking about players. I thought Camden Sue came in and pitched pretty well in relief for Will Heflin. I think he only pitched 2 innings, but didn't give up a hit. So I think he was pretty solid. And again, just kind of filling out that bullpen as postseason play approaches. I think it's huge. Getting Redmond Walsh some run, Will Mabry, Elijah Pleasance, Kirby Cannell got more playing time. So yeah, I think that's huge for this lineup to keep getting serviceable innings from not just Sean Hunley and Kirby Cannell, getting other guys involved. I think it's huge for Tennessee.
It's got to be, yeah. You can't just have two guys like that going into postseason play. I mean, I think I called for it last week. I wanted to see Camden Sue a little bit more just because I love his approach on the mound. I love how he carries himself, the pace he goes. I was really happy to see him out there. But yeah, you've got to have. I mean, you've got two solid ones in Hunley and Kirby, but to make serious noise to go to Omaha, something like that, I think you've got to have 4 or 5 guys at least, probably. So you're going to need a couple more guys to stand up, and I think Sewell's one of the best candidates for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first time Tennessee has reached 17 conference wins since 2005, and if you don't remember, that team ended up in Omaha. And it's the first time Tennessee will have a winning record in the SEC since 2005. So just continuing with the milestones. I mean, I was thinking about it 2 years ago. We were just excited to be in a regional. We were excited to go to Hoover for the first time in a long time. And now we're talking about maybe hosting a super regional, not even a regional, a super regional. So I mean, this is just it's unbelievable what this staff has done in such a short period of time. And man, I'm so excited to see us open the stadium up. Let Vol Nation be Vol Nation, and let's give number 1 Arkansas absolute hell for 3 days.
Yeah, your tweet earlier, what was it? 5,038 was the record for Lindsey Nelson?
Yeah, something like that. 86. 5,086.
5,086. I was trying to decide earlier. I don't know which game you'll have the best chance. I think Sunday's out. I don't think that one would break the record. It could. I mean, if that winds up being the deciding game, if each team swaps one. But Saturday's a noon game. Friday's 6:30. I think I might go to the Friday one, so that you could have a chance there. I don't know that you break it or not, just because I don't know how many people are still in the mindset of they're not comfortable going out, something like that. But yeah, I'm beyond excited. I've been waiting on this for. I think they should have opened it up a lot more sooner. But yeah, I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate now because finals are over and now some of the students have gone home.
Right.
Which that was kind of how I expected them to maybe break it with students, but with them going home, that might be a little bit more difficult. The Legends of Lindsey Nelson won't be at full capacity because a lot of them went home for the break. But yeah, I mean, I expect some people to be there and, hell, give away some student tickets and let them just go stand in right field. And, let's pack this. Let's make it loud. I'm super excited. Thanks, Danny White, for listening to, I tweeted at him. A lot of other people did too. So thanks for finally listening to Tennessee fans and giving them what they wanted.
If he's listening, Danny, if you're tuned in right now, extend Danny White. Or extend Tony Vitello. Sorry, extend him, Danny. I mean, if you're listening, that's the next thing. I mean, obviously, you want the. You hear a lot about the stadium renovation, adding on bleachers, which yeah, of course, I'm all for that. But let's lock in Tony V first. So if you're listening, I'm putting in my formal request there, Danny.
Yeah, and that's probably how you lock him in. It's not just a blank check and whatever you want. It's going to be it's going to be kind of him dedicating time and money into this program and really renovating it. I mean, Lindsey Nelson, it's a great atmosphere as far as a stadium wise, as far as like the experience that you get like at a minor league stadium. Yeah, it's just not it. There's a lot of things that need to be done to it. But Tennessee's finally at that place where they're able to put people in the seats and have a decent product where they're able to raise some money. So I think this will be just fine. Let's talk about Arkansas a little bit. Don't want to get into it too much because we still got Tennessee Tech, and we lost to Lipscomb earlier. But I will say this: Tennessee, I did a little research. Tennessee, they've lost 11 games on the season. They've lost one game that they scored over 5 runs in. So 5 runs is the key. If you score over 5 runs, you win the game. I think the only one they lost was Florida, and Florida hit a late home run to take the lead to win it. But other than that, Tennessee is taking care of business once they've scored over 5 runs. So 5 runs is where you need to get to. But then, you want to get to 6. 6 runs is where you want to get to feel comfortable. And, I'm excited for this weekend. Arkansas is a power hitting team. They lead the conference in home runs with 78. I think they have 4 guys with over 10 home runs. So they can hit it. The second in slugging percentage behind Vanderbilt, second in walks, only behind yours truly, Tennessee. They swept Mississippi State earlier in the season. They're coming off a 2-1 series win over Georgia, who was a pretty tight series. I think on Sunday, Georgia was actually winning at one point, and Arkansas had to come back to beat them. But yeah, I think this is a really good baseball team. They got really good pitchers, really good hitters. But I think if you're able to keep them in the ballpark a little bit and use some of that small ball, Arkansas, they're not going to have sack bunts. They're not going to bunt for hit. That's just not how they play baseball. They want to hit. They want to get guys on base by walks or whatever, and then they want to hit one out of the park. Now, that's kind of how they play ball. So, they kind of play like who's a big power? I guess the Yankees a little bit with the power, maybe the Dodgers. They want to hit bombs. But Tennessee can also hit bombs too. I mean, look at little Max Ferguson at second base, hit one probably 450 feet at Missouri this past weekend, and it was kind of cold.
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas, they do everything well, but that last series against Georgia, I mean, throughout the 3 games, it was 11-10 in all the combined games, if my math's right there, which it could very well be wrong, but I think it's 11-10 throughout the 3 games. Like, they had them at home too. You get them on the road. I mean, they're 11-4 on the road, so I think that's what Tennessee's record is on the road as well. But if they've got to come into Lindsey Nelson after not really, I mean, they won an SEC series, but they didn't really just dominate. Maybe maybe you catch them at the right time now when they're not really. Maybe the bats are a little bit cold, while ours were hot last time, and then we kind of shut down against Lipscomb. But maybe Tennessee Tech will be some nice batting practice tomorrow. But I mean, you get them when they're not really just wowing within their last series. So anything can happen. I mean, it all starts on that Friday game, and if we've got Chad Dallas going, I'm confident.
Yeah, if you want a super regional feel, this is what it's going to be like this weekend. With a really good team like Arkansas coming to town. I'm excited. Do you have anything else for this, the sweep, the Arkansas series, full capacity, anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, you got Arkansas. They've got Florida right after Tennessee on that next Thursday through Saturday. So maybe Tennessee's better than Florida is this year. So maybe I wouldn't say they're going to be looking ahead to Florida, but maybe if they swap one game, they're kind of like, just one more, then we got to get ready for Florida. I don't think so, because I've said before, I think Arkansas is a better team than Vanderbilt has been this year. I mean, they do everything well, but I guess I'm trying to say they're not playing just outstanding right now, it doesn't look like, so catch them while you can.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the energy in Lindsey Nelson this weekend. We will be there. If y'all see us there, please say hey. We'd love to talk to y'all. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Tennessee plays tomorrow night against Tennessee Tech at home, and then the big game starts. And I'm really excited for it. Hope we can break the record. That'd be really cool. Hopefully we see some bat flips, some energy, some grit this weekend by our Tennessee Vols. Thanks, Danny White. That's all we got. Thanks for listening, guys.